Recap. So in part one, I told you how I went on the AWS jobs website because I've been getting a bunch of notifications about new job postings. I saw a couple of jobs roles that I thought would be a good fit. So I went ahead and I put the application in. This was on April 6th. Over the course of the next 9 days, I was contacted by an AWS recruiter a couple times. I took an online assessment and I submitted an intake form. And then we came to the 15th, and that's when I got another email telling me that I had a set date for a initial phone interview with an AWS representative for the role of technical account manager. The interview was going to be on the 22nd, and that gets us up to where we are right now. This is part two. So it's Monday, April 22nd, 2024. And from 1 to 2 p.m. Central, me and this AWS rep is about to chop it up real heavy, right? I'm polished, I'm ready, and I'm getting my area cleaned out around my computer desk. It's going to be a virtual phone screen over Chime, Amazon's video conferencing software. And this is part of the resources the recruiter provide. There was a link to download the software and instructions on how to get familiar with it and install it. I already was familiar with the software. I already had it installed. So that was one less thing that I was going to have to do. So fam, I sat the interview. 1 to 2 p.m. came and went, and I was done, at least with that piece anyway. It went like a standard phone screen interview might go. We told each other about ourselves and some work that we're currently doing. And the rep asked me a mix of technical and behavioral questions over several technical domains. We talked about the role and what that looks like. And I had time at the end to ask any questions I had. And I definitely had some questions. And side note, when you're sitting for an interview, have some questions. Be prepared to ask your questions to the interviewer. At least 5. I usually do around 10, because what you gotta understand is they ain't just interviewing you. In most cases, you are also interviewing them. When you get to a certain level where you gain some leverage as a skilled professional, you don't want to just be, signing up with any outfit, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. So you got to interview them too. It may not be a good fit for you. They may require some things that you ain't willing to provide. So you're interviewing them, they're interviewing you. It's a mutual thing. Think of it like that, and maybe that'll help calm some of your anxiety, that we usually get when we go into these interviews. Okay. But yeah, though, that was it. And after that call, I felt pretty good. I knew I didn't bomb it, so I was satisfied with that. But I also figured I did a pretty decent job. So it was what it was. We'll see what happens, right? And I kept right on moving, you know what I'm saying? Doing my thing, as you might know if you've been on this channel. And so in the meantime, the experience kind of got my interview juices flowing. So I figured I might as well, while I've sharpened the edge a little bit, I might as well lean into it. And I plan to throw out a couple of feelers at other big tech companies too. I knew a few folks around the industry. One of my ex-bosses actually, and a friend, works at Microsoft and have been trying to get me to come over there for a while. And I know a couple other contacts at, organizations like Citi and Deloitte. So I did a little window shopping basically, but I have been targeting AWS for a few years now. So they was going to get the most attention anyway. Either way it went, I felt like it was time for me to make that move. So the plan was to keep sharpening the edge and to be very deliberate about making the next move be my best move. And that was the whole goal, you know what I'm saying? So the next day, fam, April 23rd, email came into the box and it went a little something like this. Hey there, I just got some great news. You passed your technical interview and they would like to move forward with you to the final round. Congratulations. And the crowd goes effing wild, right? Fam, I was in La La Land for a good little minute after that. But, I came around And I knew that now the real work was about to begin. All my real work was ahead of me. This is what I just did, sitting a phone interview, passing an online assessment. That was nothing compared to what I was facing, right? But I was up for the challenge. I'm ready to go. So as per usual, this email has more info. It let me know that they would start working on scheduling the final round interviews, and I would get an invite to another group for a final round interview. It really is a process, fam. But, of course, I was happy to go through it. That was what it was going to be, right? But let me tell you a little bit more about this little prep group, right? So I had the prep group for the first call, the phone screen, and then there was going to be another prep group that I was going to join for the full interview loop. So the little prep group it's like a Chime call or a Zoom call, a virtual online call, right? And I think they do them like every 2 weeks. So it's this 2 weeks group of people who are either going for a phone screen interview or who are going for the full loop interview. So it depends on which one you are. There's 2 separate groups, but we'll talk about the one for the full loop. So basically 2 or 3 people from AWS, they're recruiters and coordinators. They get on a call with the last 2 weeks group of people who have been signed up for the interview, right? And so they're attending this session to learn more about what to expect and to get some tips. So the AWS employees, they get on the call and they just go through what you can expect from the interview loop. They tell you how many interviewers it's going to be, how long it's going to be, what to focus on, what leadership principles to target based on whatever position you're going after. They tell you what kinds of questions that you might get from the interviewers, and they just walk you through the ropes, tell you all the details of the entire interview loop process, help make you comfortable for that. They also give you some links to resources. They ask questions to kind of get you used to how the interviewers might ask you a question. So they'll be asking questions inside the thing, and then they'll ask people to go ahead and in the chat or turn on their microphone if they know the answer to the question, kind of gauge, where the people are at with their knowledge and stuff like that, right? It's just really a quick call. I think they last about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, where you can ask questions about the process. They tell you all about the process, and they give you a feel for what you might expect when you go through your interview loop process. And that's really it right there. Like I said before, the real work was ahead of me, and my sole focus was sharpening this blade until I hear back from the recruiter. So I went back through all the cert material and labs I had done up until now. I already had the 3 associate level certs from AWS. So I had all the courses on Udemy and all the notes and all the other resources from when I was studying for those certifications. And I went through all that, even brushed up on some of the fundamentals of DNS, networking, servers, databases. These are the kind of domain categories that they're going to be asking you questions from. And every spare second I spent was reading or listening or labbing. Every spare second, right? And I didn't know yet when my interview loop was going to be. I just knew that, the gears start turning and the ball is rolling and set it up. So a little time went by and I'm still getting my brush up on and I haven't heard nothing. And then on May 8th, an email came through the email box. Like the hit, here you go. Hi, Warner. Thank you again for your continued patience and flexibility through our interview process. The team is excited to meet you, and I have scheduled your virtual interview day for Wednesday, May the 15th. And that is a bet. So I had roughly 8 days until this interview day came up. And it was actually going to be 4 1-hour interviews with a 30-minute lunch break in the middle. So all in 4.5 hours in the process, and that is the Amazon loop. I would have 4 different interviewers ranging from managers to someone in the role interviewing for, and of course, a bar raise. If you know, you know. If you don't know, Google it by all means. Also included in this email, it was what was called pre-interview homework, where they give you some tips and resources to go get familiar with the process and the terminology, introduce you to the leadership principles, which are the lifeblood of the culture at Amazon. And they are definitely important and you must know them. In fact, there are entire YouTube channels dedicated solely to Amazon and the interview process and the leadership principles. And if you read them and find that you either agree with or their descriptions match your normal behavior, you're probably an Amazonian and you ain't even know. Anyway, fam, finally the day arrives. It's time to show up and show out. Like a certain Midwestern mayor you might know likes to say a lot. But that's gonna be it though. For part 2, come back to hear the end of this life-changing story and get some real insight into one of the most rigorous interview processes in the business. Until the next video, Tech Fan. Peace.